A new Bloomberg poll shows that many Americans may not be in favor of President Obama's $450 billion jobs plan, but our next guest says it would reduce the odds of a recession to a very low level. It could also add more than 1 million jobs next year to the U.S. economy. Joel Prakken is Senior Managing Director at Macroeconomic Advisers. He has served in a number of positions at the Fed, especially New York. He is with us right now from Washington. Joel, tell us how you did this research, because there's a lot of people who question the goalposts and the metrics.
The way that we assess the impact of the president's jobs bill is to run through our economic model, the increase in infrastructure spending, and the temporary cuts in payroll taxes that he has proposed, and spin that model out through 2015 to see what the resulting impacts are on gross domestic product and employment. And according to our results, this plan will, by the end of 2012, raise employment by somewhat more than 1 million jobs. But there are a few points to make about that result. First of all, it is temporary in the sense that when the provisions of that plan expire and gradually wind down, so do the employment effects. So the results here are to raise the level of employment and reduce the unemployment rate for a few years while the economy is weak, in the hope or the expectation that when the plan unwinds, the private economy will have strengthened enough that it can pick up the employment ball on its own. The second point I'd make about this is that it's not a panacea. Creating an additional 1 million jobs over the next year is helpful at the margins, but to get back to full employment, we need to add 6 to 7 million jobs in order to push the unemployment rate down to 7%. So I saw in your earlier poll that citizens are suspicious of the success of the president's job plan, and if the metric is, will it help us get back to full employment quickly, I think their suspicion there is well-founded.
Joel, you yourself have pointed out that housing is the biggest problem facing the economy. So I wonder, is the plan that the president has laid out in your mind the best approach to trying to get some job creation done? Or should he have perhaps focused more on the real estate market in some way, shape, or form? Or is that just simply too big a ship to turn around?
Well, I do think that the biggest risk facing the U.S. economy is the debt crisis coming out of Europe, but the biggest drag that we're fighting against right now is out of the housing market. So I was quite interested to see the president mention in his speech and in the talking points that accompany that speech that he has instructed his economic team to work with the various regulatory agencies to remove barriers that are currently preventing strapped homeowners from refinancing at today's rock-bottom interest rates. I'd like to learn more about that, because if those homeowners could refinance, it would free up some cash flow for them that might help stimulate the economy, but it also might prevent some foreclosures, and that could alleviate some of the downward pressure on house prices, which I think is the first thing that has to occur before we can have a turnaround in construction. Look, no one wants to buy or build a house if your expectation is that the first thing that happens after you buy it or build it is that its value goes down.
Which goes to your point, Joel, that you have big faith in little changes. Joel Prakken joining us there. He is the Senior Managing Director and co-founder of Macroeconomic Advisers.